Okay. Yeah, I think I actually first have to do something that is quite boring. Namely, git commit. We have two new files. Let's look at those first. Vulkan pipeline, which contains the layout of the pipeline and the pipeline itself, that is pipeline handle. Contains two indexes. Which can be used, I think, to, well, find the factory, and then if I have the factory, I can get the pipeline. PipelineFactory should convert an index to something. No? No, I don't know. Anyway, I know that I can use this handle to get the pipeline. Handle itself. Okay, so this looks pretty sane, except that there is no comment. Hello, Shibham Chicane, if I say that correctly. Can you hear me? Okay, well, I asked, can you hear me? And it didn't say anything. YouTube is telling me I have no viewers, 0 viewers. Maybe just slow. Okay, I'm from the Netherlands. Sure, you can ask me. Ask me something. If it isn't about C++, then I probably don't know. Yeah, well, I don't think that will happen, to be honest. Well, ask away anyway. So let me continue then with my coding. No, not a good idea. Compatible programming does not teach you how to code. On the opposite, actually. Competitive programming is a wrong way to code. So if you do that and you look at the code that those people wrote, then you don't learn good programming. That's all about writing it short, obscure, way too specific, so not flexible or anything. Just one time, quick code to solve one solution, and that's not the way you should learn to code. Trying to think of what to write as a description here for this clause. What exactly does it describe, or what is it? Suppose I have one of these per pipeline. Just represents a pipeline, right? That's just it. Something like this, I think. I don't work for a company. Print on. It is debug code. Maybe I should include just debug. Handle is including what? It is already including debug. This also has a print on. I don't think there's a way around including. Wait, this is vulkan pipeline. And this is vulkan. Maybe I'm still as smart as I ever was, but my memory is failing badly. That's very important for being smart. You need to be able to. Matthew, you're leaving? Okay, bye. Or do you mean meet you? I can't see when people leave. I have to click on chat and then participants, and then I can see who is here. So it would be nice if you say bye or something if you leave. So I know that I'm not talking to nobody anymore. YouTube's still telling me concurrent viewers 0. So I'm still wondering if you can hear my voice. If you're actually watching the stream. I'm gonna ask again. Sorry, but yeah, sorry. Okay, that's probably a certain delay between real time and when you see it or hear it. Now it says concurrent viewers 1. So okay. I don't know what the delay is, but if I answer by voice, and it can mean that maybe you have to wait 30 seconds before you hear my answer, which is annoying. But otherwise, I have to type it. I want to commit my work. Having a print on here means I need to include in this namespace a certain using something. And I forgot what. That's my memory. I was talking about memory, yeah. If you want to be a genius, it helps a lot if you have access to everything you ever saw or heard or learned. If you cannot remember anything, then hardly matters how smart you are, if you understand what I mean. And I'm wasting a lot of time currently with forgetting everything and then having to look it up again. So now I have to do grab project sources, and that is something like start with using, and it contains print using, I think. No, well, there we are. Problem. Or maybe I have to add an X. Still not, and then nobody knows. Why would it not include print using? Huh? Okay, that's even more. No. I'm just doing my thing here. It's basically boring. I think someone with a lot of patience, nothing else to do, just sitting quietly at home, and once, for whatever reason, watch me work for hours on end, might at some point start to get into it. If you just keep watching and keep watching and keep watching, then at some point you start to pick up patterns, and maybe you start to pick up what I'm actually doing, and you see also progress. But the progress is very slow. And most people are, I don't know, they say a few minutes, tops. They watch me do stuff for 2-3 minutes and then they leave. So they will never see what I'm doing. They have no idea. They just see a blur of text and they don't understand it. And they click like, but well, I don't know why. Now, I have a problem with my memory. I cannot remember what I have to include in order to make print on working. And it wasn't exactly, that's the problem. This is pure stupidity. It's not print using, it's print on. So that's it. And I have even a comment here. Print objects from namespace vulkan. Now that is this file. I can just include this and then I have it already. Then I have it in namespace vulkan and a namespace render graph and a namespace defaults. Damn it, man, I should have used this all the time, everywhere. Didn't even know I had this. So now I'm going to look for other headers. Grab project source. I'm going to do all the sources. No, not like that. Stop. All the sources for this line. And I'm using it in vulkan a lot, which is thus not smart and not good. I should not have done that. But this is print on itself, so here we have a problem. Let's just open all those files. This one and this one. And this one. And I should move that include, or that using rather, to... Here's another one. Let's have at least a look at it. And those should be should actually include debug vulkan print on. So I'm going to move that to here if that is necessary. So we have a shader builder and that does this. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to move that to, so go to the last file. To do that here, and that was shader builder, right? So shader builder. I'm just cleaning up stuff now. Okay, yeah, nighttime in India. Okay, thank you for saying bye, and thank you for joining. So now I have to include this header in the file where I just deleted it. So I go all back again. I think that was here. Yep. So I'm going to include that thing and then it should still work. Now we go to the next one. And that also has this using thing here. Yeah, that should not do that. Let's do instead. And that's including it. And this is also shader builder. So now I don't have to do anything. I can just delete it. And then we go to the next file. And that is also shader builder. So same thing. And then go to the next file. Wait. Next file. This is debug.h, which has it here in What is this? What is this? Namespace. No namespace. Oh, that's interesting. Allow using print using. Allow using print using. That's the wrong comment. Support for classes with a print on method defined in global namespace. Yes. That's nothing to do with Vulkan, so it's a good thing to put it here instead of in Vulkan /debug /Vulkan print on.h. So that was the right way to do it, and then I can just write everything. So this new file looks good now, I think. No, it doesn't. So I still have to include that then. I don't like it that I include vulkan /vulkan.hpp too often, so you start to wonder, do I need to include it? AKA, maybe I'm including it already here or there. Which header files included? When do I not need it? Is there a way to detect that? Yeah. Let's look in pipeline handle. Oops, too far. Can't go back, so I have to do it again. There we are. Yeah, so this header does not include vulkan HPP. So then it is needed to include it here, even if the debug one would include it, which I don't believe. Though you never know, but no. Oh well, okay, so this is a new header file and I think it looks okay now. So I need a iOS forward for this O stream, but I think that one is included in this file, right? I think I even saw it. Definitely should be. Yep. Well, this is already included. Then we have the new file, get status, that one. Now this debug.h I think was already included in the header, no? Wasn't it? No, it isn't. Also not in the print on or in handle. I had a good memory already. Should know, not that, man. Come on, ding dong ding. This has debug.h and has print on. What? Sorry, utils has print on. Yeah, okay, no, looks good. No I can even not remember a word. Redundant is the word, I think. No redundant includes. Yeah, I can add them to new files. And then I'm gonna look at all the diffs, the diff of everything, and then just go to the root of the project, git diff. Let me just go over it broadly to see if I see something that really jumps out as being nonsense, without thinking about it too much. So apparently I thought it could be deleted, and this is line by line changes. A big change of some function. I don't know what it is, but it is something. Okay, it's something. Do I want to keep this? I can decide it later. Yeah, this is annoying. So here are some hard-coded values that really I want to generate as well. So this should not be here. They should not be here at all. It should be generated. And I think I'm almost ready to do that. Although I think I'm going to commit what I have now and then look at it again. The problem with committing it and having a bad memory is that now I'm confronted with it, because I look at the diff. But as soon as I commit it, then it's gone. And then I don't know that I committed it, and it's still hard-coded. So when will I run into it then? Oh well, life is hard. Flat create info add. Create textures. I guess it was moved or something. Yeah, from here. Okay, there's something that I just moved. This comes from names. How is it possible that I didn't see that? Oh, that is this one. Yeah, I just added it, so that's good. Fix me that was deleted. Fix me's would be interesting. Here's a fix me. Fix me. We need a member function that returns cached pipeline layout handles. One per compatible layout. Or that creates such a layout when it doesn't already exist. Yeah, let's look at that. But I'm in the middle of looking at the diff, so let's remember where that is, or rather, I'm just copying part of the string, storing it in some file. What about here? And then I'll look at it in a minute. There's not a fix me. We need a database of compatible layouts. So again about the compatible layouts, it's the same thing. This is even really bad. Instead of having a database, I'm using a static value with 1. A database of 1. Yeah, this is really, really horrible. definitely have to look. Damn it, my mouse is broken. I have to look at this one. Okay, well, whatever. I have such good music on my headphones, and I wish I could let you guys hear it too. But then YouTube is gonna ban my account probably for breaking copyright again. Let's see if I was still in time to greet next. No, I wasn't. Well, everyone is gone from the chat. Store all the declaration contexts that are involved. Let's see. Oh, it's still there. I looked at participants and didn't see you. Oh, yeah, right. Then you can listen to the same music. Well, basically I'm listening to DIFM, but then without advertisements. So, let me see what this song is called. No Wasted Time, dub mix. By Dennis Hill and Tom Wax. It's techno music. I used to be a radio pirate. I did electronics as well, and I built a FM transmitter and a stereo coder and all whatnot. And then I would do my electronics hobby while chatting with other pirates. Pirates being, it's not illegal to transmit on the radio, normal radio. And I didn't do anything commercial. It was just a hobby. It was just electronics for me. But then I like to chat as well, and then with good music in the background. No hassle. And you would expect that I could continue that now, basically like I do now. But no, as soon as I put music on, bang, they ban your account. I'm talking through the music. And I can delete it if they want to. It's immediately after my live stream. Who cares? Maybe I should pay for my own server. And then point people to that. That would be illegal as well, but who cares? Let's continue this. Okay, and that looks all normal, blah, blah, blah. I would summarize this as changes, improvements. Nothing looks like completely out of the ordinary. As in horribly wrong. Let's remove this highlight. Oh, right, there's something that I can look at again. So I have here a file called declaration context.h, and it has two classes. I should split that up. Yeah, I could remove this one, I guess. Yeah, this is also questionable. I'm looking at all the push constants that are being used in a given shader. And then I'm only adding declarations for all the push constants from the first based on offset to the last one based on offset. So say you have the push constant block of 5 variables and you only use the second, third and fourth. Then I'm only declaring the second, third and fourth. If you use only the second and the fourth, not the third, then I still declare the third as well, because the second one has an offset of because whatever it is, so the second one, and the maximum offset is then the one of the fourth, and declare everything, also the third one, which is in between. And that is maybe not necessary. I asked a question on Discord about that to see if there was an answer yet. Nope, nobody answered it. Let me show what I asked. Oops. No, I shouldn't be doing this probably. Okay, that's better. I asked, I'm now generating this. So this is a declaration of a push constant in GLSL. And I'm only using the second one. This stupid thing only has 2 declarations or 2 push constant variables. Only using the second one, which starts at offset 12. So it's a layout offset equals 12, and then whatever I'm using, push constant aspect scale. But if I'm using, say, something that's the first offset is 12 that I'm using, and I'm also using var2, which has an offset of 20, and I'm not using the third one, what I just said, then I'm still generating this. The second, the third, and the fourth. And the reason is that only the first one gets an offset, and then, well, in order to get the var2 at the right position, I need to declare this one as well. And my question was, can I also do this? I just, skip the third and specify the offset of the second one. I think this should be able. It should be possible to do this. And put that back, which means that I should not remember just minimum maximum offset, but all the offsets of everything that I use. And well, change this code. The question is it even worth it? Not really, I think, not really. So maybe this is good enough, I don't know. I guess for now it's good enough. I'll leave it like this. Include clause stuff, deletes, rewrites. We get to the end. Okay, and then I'm going to search for these strings and have a closer look. Project sources. The first one Fix me, we need a member function that returns cached pipeline layout handles. Flat create info. Let me think about it. What does this mean? Well, it definitely feels wrong. Feels totally wrong to have in the flat create info a unique pipe layout, especially the unique part here. Unique means that it's an owning pointer, so I delete this object, the pipeline layout is deleted. This whole class is a temporary. So my pipeline layout vanishes while I want to store it somewhere else. So this is totally wrong. But why is it here? How is it used? And then how can I rewrite it so it is correct? Well, I don't know. I guess this thing is public even. It's even public. Don't tell me it's public, but it is probably public, totally public here. So anyone can access this as well. Let me copy it and then see if I can find who is using it. Well, that is not. That's. Let's see. Here it is used. That's in a string. This is a comment. Here it is declared, or it is looked about. It was the accessor. And this must be another one then. Let's have a look at that. Well, it doesn't look like IMGU. Well, IMGU just has its own pipeline, a single one, with this one. Might as well keep its own data about its own pipeline, right? Layout and pipeline. Both are unique. Doesn't really look wrong. It's a bit of standalone code. I mean, I don't see a good reason to replace these two with my new class that contains both. No, definitely not. I don't know. Let's forget IMGU works and I don't have to change it. So skip IMGU as well. Then we get to the Linux viewer application, which currently is doing a whole triangle. Doesn't get any more simplistic, and that probably also has its own pipeline layout, so we can skip that as well. Yeah, same thing. Same thing as the IMGU. Just does its own thing. Skipping Linux viewer application. Then we have a test frame resources. Just frame resources. That is accessing it, I think. It's commented out. Great. Then it's not accessing it. So this was what it was. Hey, isn't it the hard-coded stuff that I wanted to delete? I hope it's commented out, so no, I'm not sure. Let's see where else I have an offset equals 12. Push constant ranges, yeah. So this was just moved. We're not doing it here anymore. I'm gonna delete it. It's kind of old enough to delete it. I'm no longer creating the layout here. I'm letting the PipelineFactory create the layout now. So maybe I can even remove this fix me now. I used to create a pipeline layout here and then add a comment. The pipeline layout can vary between different pipelines too. So I should use a characteristic range for it as well, reuse compatible ones. And I think that's what I'm doing now, because now it's just creating its own layout, right? So this whole fix me is, I think, no longer there. Yay, we fix me without actually having fixed it. It is actually what I'm looking at now. Do. And I'm still having this hard-coded value. Yeah. What was I looking at? The use of this variable, right? What variable? This variable is being assigned here. I forgot what it was. Nope. Pipeline layouts. It has vanished. So I did not want to look at this, and I did not want to look at that, and this is flat create info itself. It vanished. I'm confused. Now it looks like it's not being used at all. What? Impossible. Must be the accessor on. So nobody's using it externally anymore. Make it private. Then we will know for sure. Private. Public. It should have been private from the start, of course, but it was a hack to begin with. Let's see if this still compiles. Then we know that it is indeed not accessed. Yeah, you have to put on your own music because YouTube doesn't allow me to put on music, so I don't play any music at all. I could play bad music that is copyright free. But just put on good techno music or something like that. Something that you like. It compiles, so indeed it's not accessed because private, no problem. Then we still have the accessor, so that is going to be used. But the accessor, I hate my mouse, and I'm gonna fix my mouse soon. This can only read it, so if this is never accessed and never assigned, that would mean that this is always null value, so it's not used at all. I can just delete it. Can I? It's good that I looked at this diff, basically. Let's have a look at where this is being used. It's not used. Yay, we can delete it. Let's test it. So this whole thing is not used at all. Well, if you saw how I wrote this, you will understand that completely random piece of code just end up in my diff. And that's still compiled. Okay, well, that's one fix me less, right? Next fix me. Basically the same thing, right? It's a very difficult one as well. I'm going to first look at this one. Grep project sources. And OBS stopped being updated again. Linux is so broken. One of these days I have to fix it as well because it's making me crazy. Yeah, this is replaced. I had this map here. And this next location, an update location, all of that is here. It's just no more. So that was an easy one. Then I had this one. And I forgot, of course, why I pasted that there. Oh, right. I wanted to split this in two header files. So I have here a class, pushConstant declaration. What is it? Yeah, declaration context. And the base class. So this has to be moved to its own header file. I guess. And shader variable is being used by the first one. And this one is being used by nobody. Oh, it is. Both. Yep. So let's make a new file. We'll look at if it already exists before I overwrite something. I have push constant declaration context.cxx, but not .h. So I'm gonna do copy something to .h. And then something is what I just opened. And it has to stay in the same folder, same directory. And I'm going to delete it here. I think you can also do class pipeline. I mean, why not? For declaration. No, why not vulkan pipeline? And then we can combine these two into one as well. Not even sure if this is possible. I'm gonna try it. Forward has no meaning, by the way. Forward declaration is just a declaration. It doesn't add anything. So I could just do declaration. But yeah, people use forward declaration for some reason. Sometimes. So I'm adding it as well. the word forward, I mean. Now, what was I doing here? I deleted something. Okay, so now I have the declaration context, the base class. Everything is public. I'm just gonna make it a struct. Let's, oops, have a look if some still calling it a class somewhere. Yeah, that's problematic. Do I have another header where I can use? Oops. This one here. Auto forward declaration. So I didn't save that one yet. This one. I just copied that. Get it. So basically no. Then I go to the next file and delete this. And I guess I included and I guess I don't need this because it's already here. String. What do I need string for? Set wrap. I don't have a string at all here. No string, no nothing. Character const pointer. Oh, here's a string. But these two, and no, there's no vector at all. And here we have a vector. That's why the vector needs to be there. The string is already in the other header file. And the C standard def is for this one, uint. So that makes more sense. And shader input data I had is already forward declared, so we can delete it as well now. And then combine these two. And this as well, obviously. And then the shader variable is also forward declared here. So also no longer needed. Declaration context we just included above there. And then the stuff, public, and then whatever it is. So now I did split them up. Okay. Can save both, I guess. Let's see if it still compiles. It doesn't work. Error for declaration of class cannot have a nested name specifier. So annoying. It's not possible. Well, then we do it like that. No member named push constant declaration context and namespace vulkan shader builder. Looks like a missing header. So this is probably including that, yeah. Now, do you believe that I now forget what it was complaining about? Push constant. Right, really. Unbelievable. What is shader builder push constant then? That's this one. That does not talk about whatever, dude. VI, and we have here fatal error, shader builder push constant declaration context.h file not found in pipeline. Yeah. Why not push constant declaration context? I just created it, didn't I? Should you go push constant? No, I didn't. I forgot to add the shader builder here. Move shader builder. Hopefully you didn't overwrite something now, but git status, you have a new file, git add, which I'm adding already, but I still have to look at it again. Look good, of course. Maybe should add a comment here. Yeah, just I don't know, declaration context of push constants. Yeah. Could be improved. Could majorly be improved, I must say. Especially the vector of strings, really. It's nothing better that you can do. Yeah, I don't know. It's good enough. Okay, then the last one, which I found, what I expected to be the most difficult one. We need a database of compatible layouts for now. Just store layout in the flat create info. Okay, now it's getting really boring because I'm stopping with coding and I'm going to look at documentation. Believe it or not, but it is necessary if you code. And what I want to look at, pipelines, chapter 14, I think. Resource descriptors. Nobody knows. Pipelines 10. There is something with compatible layouts. I think the layouts are not described here. They are in 14. Okay, I have to admit I cannot find it. Scriptor set layouts. Let's gonna search for it, I guess. Search for pipeline layout. Let's go to the top with the first time where it is mentioned with the 5.1. There we are. Max per stage descriptor inline uniform blocks. Do I want to read this one? No. Another one. Another one. Compute pipelines. Compute pipelines. Nah. Graphics pipelines. That's more interesting. Graphics pipelines consist of multiple shadow stages, multiple fixed function pipeline stages, and a pipeline layout. Okay. Everybody happy? Right. Within the VK pipeline layout, all descriptor sets with pre-rasterization shader bindings is nobody understands it. Specific stuff, I guess. This is about the library, pipeline library, or isn't it? Don't understand anything of this. It is super interesting though. So they are talking about subsets, pipeline layout subsets. Now the final effect of pipeline layout is effectively the union of linked pipeline layouts. That is very interesting. When binding descriptor sets for this pipeline, the pipeline layout must be compatible with the union. There we have the word compatible as well. This pipeline layout can be overridden when linked with VK pipeline create a link time optimization bit extension. Over my head. Providing a pipeline layout that is compatible. I clicked on it. Pipeline layout compatibility. That's what I looked for, wasn't it? Guess what chapter it is. Scroll. Give me a chapter. What the hell? There's no chapters. Keep scrolling. Still nothing. 14. Told you, it's 14. Didn't scroll down to 14.2.2. But yeah, but I'm specifically interested in the layout, the compatibility. So we go all the way down again. Two pipeline layouts are defined to be compatible for push constants. Okay, I have to start somewhere. If they were created with identical push constant ranges. So, step 1, I'm going to turn on the light so I can see my keyboard again. Which means I have to close the curtains, otherwise people see me sit here. Okay, so where was I? If they were created with identical push constant ranges, so I'm going to my source code and I say, what are we doing here? I'll set wrap. There you see, we're creating pipeline layout with push constant ranges. So if the push constant ranges are identical, then maybe they are compatible. So let's have a look at where that comes from. It comes from flat create info get push constant ranges, and that exists of a vector of vk push constant range, which is a struct that contains down to the bottom an offset and a size. Well, that's a range. So begin and a length, basically. And identical means they must be equal. Can I compare push constant ranges? Well, yes, I can. Here's one. You can compare this push constant range with another one. Well, ask if it is not equal to. I can also ask if it is equal to, or even the spaceship operator, if we have that. I have it because I'm using C++20. It'd be interesting to know this defined then, like automatically. I doubt it. Actually, yes, it is. Define it if we have this. That's probably defined. Well, anyway, that works. So we can compare in left, right, upside down, and equal. How then is this done? Use reflect. And otherwise, we just compare stage flex, offset, and size. I understood offset and size, but it's also comparing stage flex. Didn't even see those. Stage flags. What is that? Okay, wait a minute. Stage flags. Okay, I overlooked that. So this is push constant range, and also the stage flags must be the same then, I guess. Stage flags is something that exists of stage flag bits. Oh, that's what our stage it is. Yeah, that's... Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so they must all be the same for compatibility. Well, that's easy enough. However, what if I have a vector with two push constant ranges and then I swap them? I think that would still be the same thing, isn't it? Doesn't really matter how you order this thing here. Or maybe it's safer to keep that order in some order. Let's have a look what it comes from. It comes from this thing here, get push constant ranges, which returns a merge with other push constant ranges. So this is a flat create info, which has a push constant range list, which is a vector of vectors. And then merge is just running over all the lists. Yeah, it's just stacking one vector on top of the other. You got to wonder if that is the right way to merge push constant ranges. Yeah, basically only have a single push constant block, and if you have multiple ranges and they would, let's say, overlap, if that's even possible, then I have to merge them definitely in a different way. And they would just be connected, and they would become a single push constant range. Well, before I look at the merge, let's look at how a single vector is constructed. Don't tell me it's going to be hard-coded, because I'm going to scream. This is being added with add. Don't you hate it? Just renaming it to add to, compile it, and then we'll see where it is being added. Deja vu. Finally starting to become a little bit hungry. I should probably make or heat up some soup, but it takes me 5 minutes. Probably should stop the stream. I have an error. Try that again. I'm lazy. I'm too lazy to scroll up, so I'm just type make again. Wait, there it is. VI. Okay, so that's simply adding this vector, which happens to be a hard-coded vector. Now I'm screaming. Scream. And this should be generated, right? So maybe I should start with looking at the code that is missing to generate this. Holy suckage. This needs to know offset in a size for every stage. Aha. Well, I happen to know, and because I just wrote it, that data exists somewhere, if it already exists at this point. That is the big question, isn't it? Where am I? This is in the constructor. Yeah, not useful. Well, maybe. It is being constructed when this is being constructed. I don't know. Add characteristic. Oh. Can imagine that is being constructed at this point. Add characteristic. Is that the one? I guess. Owning window. Oh, of course, it's the template parameter. So this characteristic here is being passed. And there it is, a new characteristic. So it's definitely being created at the moment I call add characteristic. Hello, Matthias. I'm writing a Vulkan engine. There's a link to the GitHub in the description if everything works out. I have the feeling that it does not exist yet, because I think I'm creating this information that I need. At the moment, I am calling preprocess on my shaders, which is being done when the shaders are being built, and they are being built by the PipelineFactory, which happens when I call generate. So the information is made by different thread, even by the factory pipeline task in a different thread after calling generate. So I cannot create it at this point here. In other words, it cannot be part of this class constructor, which means I have to create an empty constructor and fill it in later. Don't know if this works, probably not, but you get the idea. And what about I do that in initialize because I'm needing it here, or not? No, this add just says I'm going to fill it for you, but it doesn't have to do it yet. Now, and then what happens? Build shader, there we are. So this build shader probably makes that information that I need to create that vector. And then I add them somewhere. I have here input binding description. That's the top one here, and then we get, let's see if I have a memory left. Vertex input attribute description, shader input data, pipeline caller, blend, attachment state, dynamic state, description set layouts. Oh, I don't know what the others are filled. Well, this is the input attribute description. So what is this? The pipeline input assembly something. It's not even mentioned here. Okay, this is as good as any point in. Let's put it here, and now I have to fill this thing, which is actually called M, I think, isn't it? It's M, I think. It doesn't want to copy it because it is highlighted. M. Yep, that's what it is called. Push constant ranges. Don't know. I can do that like this. Probably not. Definitely not. Plus, I don't want to hard code it anyway. So, but in order to test it, I probably want to make this work first. Let's do it really hackish. Let's make this work first. So I'm gonna create a new vector here, like this one. Fill that with that stuff, and then just copy it to the other vector. Really horrible. But if this works, then we have a chance to generate this, still hard-coded stuff, from the data that was generated just now by calling these build shader things. I hope. I mean, that's my guess. At the very least, this must still work then. After it compiles. Unknown type name flat create info. Something went horribly wrong. Huh? What is this doing here? End of initialize. I think that was this one. Don't despair. No matching member function for call to add flat create info. I called it 2. I can remove that one. Wait a minute. Candidate function not available. Yeah, okay. I can make it add 2 maybe. Oh, why not? I'll change it back later. Well, it compiles. Let's run it. It works. Good. So then we have a chance. Let's change back the add to. Grab project sources add to. Header file. It was called add. Now the question is, how do we generate this? Well, that's going to be super difficult. I need to run over all shader stages and then find the push constants, the push constant offsets and the sizes. Push constant ranges, that's. Dude, I have no idea. No idea, but build shader, what does that do? Build shader is this function, and that calls preprocess, and that generates my data. And preprocess is doing the following. I can delete this now, I think. It works, right? Preprocess runs over all shader variables. You want to know what the shader variables are? I can show you. But every time I really explain something to the viewers, you know, like not being productive for myself, I'm just explaining things, they leave. So I'm kind of hesitant to do that. It's a waste of my time. But I'm going to do it anyway. I have 3 viewers. If anyone's really interested and you want to know what shader variables are, let me show you. I'm now in this file, so I can get back. Quit. What? I have to save something. I don't know what. I made changes. I don't know what. GLSL. Here is a shader code, template code rather. because I'm using weird stuff, weird strings with double colons here. Those are my shader variables. So shader variables are not really shader variables, but they are things that I want to replace with something that actually compiles. Double colons do not occur, are not allowed in GLSL shader code. So what I'm doing here is I'm having a string with a double colon, which my preprocessor, self-written preprocessor, recognizes as something that must be replaced. And that causes the generation of a declaration for something. It will be more clear if I show you actually what is then being generated. But these things, all those double colons here, are my shader variables. So then I can go back to this file here. So the preprocessor runs over all those known shader variables. And the shader variables exist of, among other things, that string that I just showed. Got to contain some more. Let me show what it contains more. It contains, it's actually a base class of stuff. This is that string, and then this is whatever that string has to be replaced with. And then I have a function that is implemented in derived classes, depending on what the shader variable is. Currently I have two shader variables types. That's a push constant and the vertex attributes. And after that I'm going to add uniform buffers. And we are dealing with the push constants right now. So I have a class called push constant, which is derived from shader variable. See, the base class that I just showed. And then this class is implementing those functions, the string, which I showed in the GLSL. I still have two viewers, it's amazing. Normally people already left. As soon as I start to explain stuff, it's amazing, but I don't know. And the name that it, whatever it has to be replaced with, and then this function. So the only thing that's interesting is this function. But before we look at that, let's go back to the preprocess function. What does it do? It gets a string, the double colon strings. This is the template code, and I'm finding, starting at position 0, the double colon string. If it exists, then whatever is returned into pos is an unequal npos. And we do this block, which means that I store in positions, which is a map, a pair of the string that matches and the string that it has to be replaced with. And then I say, yay, we encountered one of these strings, or this shader variable has now been seen once. And position is incremented with where we were, and then we find the next same string, but the next one in the source code. So we loop over all the shader variables, and we loop over all occurrences of those shader variables. And I make a list of all the places where they occur and what they have to be replaced with. But if they occur at least once, then this if is true. This can be removed as well now. and we call declaration context insert, and I store pointers to the declaration context that is returned by this call to is used in. So I'm gonna basically, you can read as English, shader variable is used in that shader stage. That's going to look up a certain context. I remove, return that, and which I then store in. Sorry, I have to take this. Hallo?
Hi, hallo met papa.
Jo.
Mama maakt zich een beetje zorgen waar Peter zit. Jij weet het waarschijnlijk ook niet, hè? Dat is niet bij jou, hè?
Wacht eventjes. Okay. I lost my viewers in the meantime, I see. Or maybe not, I still have viewers. Yeah, okay. I'll continue in a second. I just have to get me some drink here. I dropped it. What is cap? I dropped the cap of the bottle. Yeah, I got a phone call from my parents. Pure nonsense. But it's how it is, right? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Okay, that seems to work. Well, yeah. Okay, so for each shader variable that is being used, we call this function, which is then returning a declaration context, which is adjusted, and that declaration context is then called, the method generate declaration is being called for each declaration context that was returned here, which then returns a declaration that is added to the source code. Apart from the search and replace, basically, that happens here. It's not really interesting. So the only really interesting stuff that happens is in this function here, is used in. And we go to the used in of the push constant, so that's this one. And what that does is it calls this function. But okay, let's look more closely what it exactly does. It finds the declaration context by prefix, the prefix being the part before the double colon. That gives us the declaration context, and then that gives us the declaration context as a reference, and then we call this function with passing the shader variable double colon string, the shader stage, tada, some other important object that contains a lot of data, and shader input data. What the hell is that? Oh, that's the important object. This is the push constant object. Who cares? Just jump to that function. Vertex attribute. No, we were interested in a push constant. That does a whole lot of stuff. Okay, we cast back the shader variable to the what it actually is, the push constant. That was the thing that was derived from the shader variable. And now we have access to, among other things, the offset. Okay, so it would be nice if we could remember what we needed. What we need is the shader stage, the offset, and the size. So we have all the ranges. Here we have the offset. Actually, the minimum offset is the offset. The range is maximum offset plus the size of that element minus the minimum offset. That would be the size then. And the shader stage is, well, whatever is being passed here. So right here we have all the information that is needed for the automatic generation of the push constant description. But where does it go? Where is it stored, if at all? Right here I'm only seeing that it is being, only the offsets are being stored, not even the push constant itself. However, we do something here. And then we generate the declaration. So this is probably not very interesting. I think this is what is most interesting. This runs over all push constants. So the shader input data has a list of all push constants. Okay, I'm not sure now. Yeah, but that's not very useful because that's just all push constants. So we run over all push constants, and then that does give us the push constant object. And then if the offset is in the current range, it's being stored in push constants in range, which unfortunately is a local vector, which is then sorted, used, and destructed. And we lost our information. So I need to store this information somewhere so I can keep it. I don't want to abuse, say, this current object for that, because it's just the declaration context. It should only be involved with the declaration generation. So the most logical place to store it is the shader input data, which is fortunately not const, so I can use it to store stuff. So yeah, it is possible, let's put it that way. And I think that the first thing that I need to do now is go to this class and then add space to store the data that I want to store. This is a big class that already stores a lot of shit, including, I think, push constant stuff. Yep, here we have it. That's a map of all the push constants, I think. Big object. That's the object of the preprocess. I hope I can access it, but if not, then I'm gonna make it so that I can access it. So this is going to be the object that I store this data in, I think, yeah. Now, what exactly did I have to store? Something with, just let's add it here. Oops. Something with an ordered list, I think. In the end, I just had a vector, I think, of VK push constant ranges. But I would like to have them in a certain, sorted order. So maybe you should just use a set with the ordering. This doesn't have to be fast, by the way. It doesn't have to be fast at all. It's just taking lots of headaches away from me doing automatic stuff. But well, it's being used to compile shaders. I mean, that happens exactly once, right? So I'm going to have a set with, theoretically, I think, just VK push constant range is. Oops, yeah, that was that stuff. Wait a minute. No, where was I? Huh? Damn it. That thing has these public members. Does it have a nice ordering variable already? There's the spaceship operator is default. I think that means that if you do a less than, it's just going to do some kind of less than on these things. It's probably defined how, but I'm not sure what the primary ordering is then. Is orders on size or offset? Probably better to just write one myself. Okay, so let's call these things push constant ranges. I know I'm creative. And they need to be ordered in some way, which I don't know what yet, but push constant range compare. It's have to be defined somewhere. Might as well define it here, why not? I think I need a little bit more space. It is a const thing, probably. So this must return a boolean, which returns true if PCR1 is less than PCR2. And I want them in the order of offset mainly. The side doesn't even matter. I mean, the offset is always different. But, yeah, basically just order it by offset exclusively. Why not? I don't think it's allowed to have the same offset. Which constant range with the same offset? No, because push constant ranges are, say, a contiguous memory range in the push constant block, which is just one block for all stages. Well, for each draw call. But that means all stages at that point. And they are not even allowed to overlap. Unless... yeah, they could overlap. Okay, documentation. Let's say we have a push constant block. So you have some. Well, I have actually an example of that. Oh, push constant. So here's my push constant. It's very minimal, but let's say I have unused, well, I don't know, give it a different name. And we have more variables here. Say another float, x, and GLSL. Well, I'm not very creative when it comes to naming, so forgive me. Now, let's say this is used in the fragment shader. And this is used, yeah, it says unused, I know, but this is used in the vertex shader. Well, this is used in the vertex shader. And it seldom happens, but theoretically it could be that this is used in the vertex shader and in the fragment shader. Then you have a push constant range for the vertex shader. That is this, and a push constant range for the fragment shader. That is this. It simply works. So the offset would be the offset of this thing, and the size is the size of two floats. It's 8 bytes. I think this size, the size of this thing is 12. So the offset of this one is 12, 16, and 20, right? 12 plus 4 is 16 plus 4 is 20. Yeah, and the total size is 28. So this offset is 16 and the size is 8. And this one has an offset of 0 and the size of 12 plus 8 is 20. Now, as you can see, the offset is different. 0 and 16 are different. But since this is how it can work, theoretically you can have an overlap. Why not well, let me think for a bit, because it's definitely not allowed to have exactly the same things. So what it is not allowed to say do this and yeah, whatever. This is not allowed. But I think it is allowed to do this. I'm not even sure, I must say. All kinds of super difficult rules that I cannot remember. No, I could spend the next half an hour to look in the documentation again and figure it out. What exactly were the rules? I had a discussion about it on Discord, so maybe I should have a look at that discussion again. Maybe then we can see a little bit more quickly. Yeah, so here Discord. No generating declaration. I think you are Okay, I believe that I can read this. Yeah. Well, let's see the whole thing. Where did it start? There's something else. I think it started here. Yeah. Can you define a different unrelated push constant block in the vertex shader and the fragment shader? So the answer to that was no, because there's only one push constant block, but you can have different ranges. So I don't know. And our guru said push constant is really one big block of data. The push constant ranges you define specify what portions of the push constant each stage can see. So technically yes. Well, I guess it's a yes then, whatever. This is, I think, what I just showed, right? Now, while I was asking this question, I was completely ignorant. So I started learning at this point, the 16th, so 5 days ago. So I say, for example, the vertex shader would have a push constant block having a foobar and blah. And then the fragment shader is something else, which is unrelated. And I wondered if that was possible, because they're unrelated. Now, the answer is it is possible, but you still have one block. So you need then one block that has all four, and then just specify here a different range, which means that you have to add here layouts in front of a layout with a certain offset in front of this float. So correctly, he says that essentially this means you have this block, and then you define a different offset. There's a non-overlapping stuff then. So what I showed here, 4 things, and then the vertex shader is using just these 2, and the vertex shader is using these 2. So you don't even overlap then in that case. So I get validation errors complaining about overlapping ranges. If I declare a different block and the fragment shader, then offset 0 has a different meaning. That's what I thought. Pass an array. So, and then pass an array. Those two to the pipeline layout creation. Then when recording the command buffer, you can set a push constant vertex shader, execute something. I was too ignorant. It's not even making anything clear. Let me read it. Let me speed read it till I find what I was looking for. Any 2 elements of P push constant ranges must not include the same stage. Okay. Yeah, I did not understand this. So they can overlap. So it is like I just said. You have one range for the vertex shader and another range for the fragment shader, and it's allowed that they overlap. So this one is AB and this one's also SB, so the same as I showed, which is also shown here then. Totally overlapping, like I said. Nevertheless, Nevertheless, I remember that there was a problem with if they completely overlap. But let's assume that if they do not overlap completely, and then it is possible that they start at the same point, and in which case the offset is equal. So we have to take that into account. How do I want to order two push constant ranges that are like this? Pretty much doesn't matter if you ask me, because they are different shaders, yeah. Yeah, I was talking about merging things. Plus it is possible. Difficult. Why would they ever do that? Merge push constant ranges. Probably kind of nonsense anyway, but well, you never know. There's definitely a problem here when I have it's not trivial, let's put it that way. When it's not trivial, then there are special cases that are unsolvable or super complex. I'm not sure if it makes any sense to even try it at this point. So let's order them as if it doesn't matter. I'm just going to order them by offset. Offset and size, okay. I'm just going to order them by offset. PCR2 offset. Yeah, it's a reference, mister. And I have to admit that if this ever starts, it's ever the same, then we have a problem because it's not trivial. So they must be unequal. Can't type. I still can't type. Okay, if there are one or more push constant ranges that start at the same offset, and then merging, which is the only reason that an ordering matters, is non-trivial, I think. So if this ever fails, then merging has to be rethought. My future me can do it with that. Now we have an ordering on offset, and the offset will always be different. Bang. So now I still have to fill this with push constant range, VK push constant ranges. And that function was this function here, wasn't it? No, this function. New problem. This is updated every time, so this slowly grows both ways. Okay, let's postpone that problem and just do it for as if it is called only once, or for the nth time, and my set is still empty. Then I want to create a if I do right create all, do I get back in push constant declaration context.cxx if I type vi? Yes, I do. That's nice. Why did I want to quit out of this? I forgot. I'm getting Alzheimer for sure. My mind is suddenly blank. Horror. I don't know. I seriously don't know. I think maybe I wanted to run this. But it is already highlighted. Something went wrong. That was the reason. Finally, I remember. I did this and then I came in a random position. Okay, I wanted to run make C tags. Okay, I want to construct something. VK push constant range. Which has stage flags and an offset and size. Correct. Yep. And the stage flags have the type VK shader stage flags. Could probably jump to that. Shader stage flags. Stage flag bits. Hopefully it's what I have right here. Shader stage flag bits. Oh yeah, yippee. Well, this is just a bit. I think you can assign it anyway, but it's a bit strange that I would have flags and then only assign a single bit. Sometimes you need to have both. Right. Oh, and that happens when you have the same range, I think. It is also confusing. I think I'm just gonna code something that more or less works and then do a lot of tests or something. Just make up a lot of stuff. Try it out and see where it goes wrong. Very unsatisfying though. But okay, this is the first step. Single bit, that is the stage. And then the offset is, for this range, is then the minimum offset. And the size is the maximum offset plus, it's actually the offset of the next member. Yeah, that's a bit too difficult. I need the last member. I might as well just do, you know, the thing needs a name. Offset ends. I mean, what's in a name? Minus, I can't type, minimum offset. Which means that I have to define offset end, of course. Well, first we declare it. I think that those things are uint32. Let's define it as something. Probably not needed, but no, that is nonsense. Already at this point I know what it is, namely maximum offset plus the size of the last member. So the whole point is that I want to find it. This push constant range has size, which is kind of obviously a uint32 type. Now, what is offset end? So here we run over all the push constants, and then at some point I find one that is outside of the range. Oh, what if I don't? Oops. Yeah, not really working. Okay, so it must be inside the range. Might as well do it separately. If the push constant offset equals the maximum offset, then seriously I just want to define offset end to be the maximum offset plus the size of that push constant. Which is not really true if you ask me, or is it? Do we have a size? I don't know, hopefully. Push constant. Push constant is this thing here, it does have a offset. Whoa, we even have elements. Possibly. I don't think this thing has a size, that's annoying. We have an offset, we do not have a size. Well, let's add a size then. uint32 type size const equals, well, that would be, I think, if we have an array size larger than 0. Then it is array size times something, and otherwise it's just something. I'm going to do that differently. There, s equals something, return s, I get s set. I'm going to do if array size is larger than 0, do s set times array size. And the something is then the size of the basic type. I think basic type definitely has a size. There it is. So you can do m type size. So now I have a size, which is this size, and then just add the offset to the size. Maybe it's even better to just do push constant offset, which is of course the same as it is deleted, but it reads better. It's offset plus its size. It's in the offset end. And then from that we know the size of the range. Now, did I ever get something? I don't think so. Oh yeah, of course. It doesn't compile because this line. So now I have a push constant range, and yeah, well, I don't know, add it, insert it. This is set. Insert push constant range. It's this one. So then insert it in this set, ordered by offset. Whatever. However, it feels super incomplete, right? Because then the next time we call this function again, and then say I find another shader variable, which has an earlier offset. So the minimum offset becomes what it was, but now smaller, because the offset of this push constant is even less. And or the maximum offset is changed. Which means that our new push constant range now has a smaller offset and a larger size of the same offset and a larger size, which means that it should replace whatever is in push constant ranges. Now what I can do is I can definitely change the compare that we're using for this thing. Say like this compare can say, so we have basically an offset. I don't know. It starts there, and we have a size. And then say, what I normally do if I want to compare ranges, then I say, if we have something like this, okay, let's start simple. Well, this is a range and this is a range. If the range do not overlap, then this range is smaller than that range. That's clear. If they do overlap, then this range is smaller than that range. Sorry, but that's the way it is. And if it is like this, then the other way around, of course. But if they overlap like this, then they are equal. So this one is not smaller than that one, and this one is not smaller than that one. If I do it like that, and the thing grows, for example, the size becomes larger, like this, or the minimum offset becomes smaller, like this, and this one is equal to that one, and I want that an insert of something that is equal to something that already exists replaces the previous one. So then if we had this one, it's being replaced by the one that's larger. That means that I must be able to insert something into a set that is equal. I don't know if that's possible. Let's have a look at standard sets. probably first have to do an erase and then reinsert it. Merge splice nodes from another container. No. Count find contains equal range, returns range of elements matching a specific key. Could also use these. Found those, erase them, and then insert a new thing. I guess equal range does already return that. Equal range returns a pair of iterators. Const version key. What is the difference here? Template parameter k. Well, probably won't need it. No, won't need it. So just have the key. 1 and 2. Compare the keys to key. Returns a range containing all elements with the given key in the container. The range is defined by two iterators, one pointing to the first element that is not less than key. The first element that is not less than key, I guess, yeah. AKA equal or larger, but large is not being returned, I think. Or maybe it is. Anyway, and another one pointing to the first element greater than key. Alternative, what if that doesn't exist? Alternatively, the first iterator may be obtained to a lower bound and the second to the upper bound. Yeah, that's what I thought. Kind of difficult to understand here. The first element is not less than key. It doesn't say what it returns if it doesn't exist. Oh, here. If there are no elements not less than key, past the end, the end iterator is returned as the first element. Similarly, if there are no elements greater than key, past the end iterator is returned as the second element. Okay, great. So I can just erase that range. And then we got rid of all the keys that are equal. I'm gonna do that. So we call equal range on the set. Well, in order to do that, I have to fix this, of course. So something is less than if. So this one is less than that one if the offset is less. And PCR offset plus PCR. Really? Yep, offset plus size is the end. So if the offset is less than this and that one is less than that, then it's less. Note that if it is like this, then this is also less than that. So that's the same thing. But if it is like this, well, in this case, this is not less than that. And so this one is not less than that because of the start, and this one is not less than that because of the end. And if one is not less than, if this one is not less than that and that one less than that, then they are equal between quotes. Now, what if they are in different stages? Then I don't want I don't want it to replace, right? So they cannot be equal if the stages are different, I think. Now we get into the non-trivial part. If the stages are completely different, then they are definitely not equal. And what if the stages overlap? Is that even possible? Might not be allowed. No, it's not allowed. Yeah, it's not allowed because you cannot have. Oh wait. Well, in the end, when we have all the push constant ranges, it is not allowed to have two push constant ranges with the same stage bit set. You can have a push constant range with two stage bit sets, but you cannot have two different push constant ranges with the same bit set. So if they are equal, they must have the same bit set for the stages. If they do not, then they are not equal. So what I can do is, if the stages are different, so PCR1 stage flag, damn it mouse, what was it, stage flags, jump to it, stage flags, yep. I don't know if you can do less than, but we'll see. PCR2, so less than means unequal. In this case, no, nonsense. If they are unequal, then I just return that. So this is never equal, because if I call it with these PCR1 and 2 swapped, and they are unequal, then they are always unequal, and then one is less than the other or not, because they are unequal. So then in one case returns true and the other one returns false, so one is less than the other one. And only if they are equal, the stage flags, then possibly with swapping PCR1 and 2, they are still equal. So both return false. Then now I can do the following here. I can find the range, call it range. Equal range. And then the key, well, it's just push constant range, right? Yeah, equal range, pass a key, get back a pair with 2 iterators. That should work, and then I'm going to erase that. Erase. I'm guessing that this works. And then we insert the new thing. So now it really replaces everything that was equal. Well, this should work. Although let me have a look at erase. Erase has a first last iterator thing, yeah. Okay, well. Use of undeclared identifier and push constant ranges. Yeah, that thing is an element of that thing, yeah. And there first. There was a void insert for VK push constant range. Wait, let's choose a reference. And well, it must be public, so let's move it down. Add push constant build shader. Is it public? Yeah, it must be public, but it's not really super public, is it? It's more like preprocess, called from preprocess. What is it called from? It's more like nobody wants to know. Yeah, whatever. Oh, I was going to make soup for myself. Yeah, no, I was going to do that. It's easy to lose weight as a programmer. No member named range. So what is this dot doing here? This dot here. We believe that I had 150 views, an average view duration of 1 minute and 43 seconds. People must see this and then run away screaming. I'm not sure if I like it. I don't know what's wrong. If someone sees this stream and thinks, oh my god, he could improve this or that, please type it in the chat. Maybe I will. You would help me. Damn it, it compiles. What is that? Just compiles. We run it and it still works. Okay. But the coding, by the way, comes from the fact that this validation error occurs again. Basically means, yeah, so the pipeline was not, the layout was not destroyed, and that's static that I pointed out 2 hours ago or something like that. I doubt that those viewers are still here. So we are working on it. It's not a problem. Okay, so preprocess is calling is used in, which calls GLS ID string is used in, and which calls this stuff. And now we have the data that we need to generate. We have data to generate, yeah. What? Generate what? I forgot. The only thing I remember is that it contained offset equals 12. Really? Yep, really. Okay. So now we can generate this from I think this shader input data, because that's a shader input and that contains our information. Ta-da! Now you already see it happening. That thing becomes shader input data dot push constant ranges, exactly like the lines above it, which then has to return a vector with vk push constant range, state flags, offsets, and sizes, which is just a copy of our set. So that's easy, kind of, I think. Offset, size, pretty sure it's going to work. I have a good feeling about it. How late is it? Because I really have to eat before I go to bed. Yeah, it's like crazy late. Going to bed with a full stomach already, I think. Let me just finish this function and then see that it runs, and then I quit for today. So we're going to add push constant ranges function to that object as well. We definitely lost the hard-coded stuff. I just deleted it. Where do you put such a new function? Private, public, add push constant, build shader. Didn't I just add something here? Insert here. Let's add it here. Push constant ranges. Okay. Definitely const. Almost an accessor. And it should return a vector of this, I think, yeah. Which means that we have a standard vector of this. Which has to be filled from this. How do you copy how do you copy a vector set to a vector? My guess is with a constructor, which takes iterators. If it compiles, it works, right? I mean, what else could it do than exactly what I want? Hell, I don't even have to do make a result and just return. Da 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 da. Isn't C++ 20 beautiful? If it compiles, that is, but yeah, make. And if it doesn't compile, it's going to take me 10 seconds to fix it. Unless I have to read the documentation, then it's going to take a minute. Of course it compiles. Compiled. And lots of errors. Lots and lots of errors. So, yeah, I can't say that it works. We can still do everything we want. But there's a definite problem here. What is the problem? Overlapping offset 12 and size 4 do not contain VK shader state fragment bit. You know what? I think I want to see what it generated. That would probably help. That should be long enough. So somewhere I have a push constant right here, push constant. I think this is what it generated. Offset is 12, which is correct. How the hell can that give an error? That's what I had before as well. No, wait, no. That indeed I had that, yes. But this is about what I just changed was creation of the pipeline layout. Create. I think it's graphics pipeline. Entering IMQ, I'm going to ignore IMQ. Here's one, then we have IMQ and create an object IMQ, local device, script pipeline. Again. Jesus Christ, how many pipelines did it create? This is not helping. Oh wait, this is create all the pipelines. No, I need I definitely need just this one, logical device, and then still have two of them. Oh, only have two here. Set rep. Okay, what is it doing here? Create graphics pipeline. Vertex stuff. Does anyone see the word push? I'm still looking. Maybe I should just highlight it because it's too many text. Push. No push. Okay, that's interesting. Well, that is interesting. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm looking at the create graphics pipeline, which is just being passed a layout. I must look at the creation of the layout, which has this handle. So why don't we look at that? Create. Oh, that the handle is apparently the IMGUL pipeline layout. So that was not the one that I wanted. How about render pass layout here? Which is indeed different. That's nice. Synchronize have new pipeline. Yep, nice. I want to know, just go to the top, search with handle. Here it is created. Created objects, flat create info, pipeline layouts with handle that. You would expect some debug output about the creation itself. Maybe you should look in the source code what to grab for, because now I'm lost. Oh yeah, create pipeline layout. Finally we have it. I think the thing takes two things. This is the first one, and then you get a comma, and then we get a vector with push constant ranges. This opening of the vector, and then we get a single push constant range, and that is the end of the vector. And the single push constant range says that stage flex is vertex, offset is 12, and size is 4. Which looks completely okay in my eyes. Completely. So, it worked, I would say. But I'm getting 100 million errors. Okay, this is line 1583. Is it? I guess. Let's look for validation error. Let's look for the first validation error, and that is on 1774. So that's later. Okay, that's good. This is at the moment we record the command buffer. It says that vk push constant range in m-flat create info dot m pipeline layouts, which is just a debug name named 2, which you can see here. 2. So somewhere I have this debug name, pipeline layouts. The pipeline layouts, we have only one pipeline layout, which you just looked at. They had an offset of 12 and a size of 4, right? Now it's talking about overlapping. Do not contain VK shader fragment bits. That's correct, it only had vertex. We saw that. Blah 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 states for each byte. This is what I call non-trivial, but also testing. I don't even have to test, just out of the box we get errors. Okay, I don't want to eat. For each byte in the range specified by offset and size for each shader stage in stage flags, there must be a push constant range in layout that includes that byte and that stage. I think its main problem is with what we are doing at the moment. We're doing a push constant range. No, we're doing that. Is it not telling me? This is thread pool 3. Let's scroll up till the last time 3 did something. Here. BS called back. And running BS finish is completely done, and then it complains. Oh wait, here we are. No, kill. I don't think that's the same thing. What the hell is going on here? Nobody knows. Okay, let's look at the source code. Well, I'm drawing somewhere. We're running tests, frame resource counts, and this must be in this file, and there must be we are recording something. Create vertex buffers. The render frame, draw frame, okay, here do we the recording, begin the render pass, push constants. Yeah, I'm setting fragment bit here, nobody knows why. So it doesn't like it that I say that this is fragment bits, while really it is exclusively a single thing. Scaling factor, size of float, aspect scale. So if you look at aspect scale, that's being used here in the vertex shader. Intel Vert stands for vertex shader. It's not being used anywhere else. It is only used there. Now here's the fragment shader, and that doesn't have any push constants at all. So I think my generation is correct, and there is no fragment shader here. Well, it still works, and as you can see, we do not have any validation errors anymore. Ta-da! And to be sure, I can run it in a debugger, because the debugger stops when there is a validation error. Maybe I missed one. So I can do, I think it was the last command already, GDP. Run. Didn't stop, no validation errors, so that was it. Now it stops because there is a validation error. Guys, it is it is bedtime basically, and I still didn't eat. So this is the end of the stream. I'm going to eat something, and then I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I missed the chat again. Someone said, I love to hear how someone is trying to figure out how to program. Well, I'm not trying to figure out how to program. I've done it before, seriously. Oh, you're still there. You see, Matthias, so you said, I love to hear how someone is trying to figure out how to program in that thinking process, which I really like, that you like that. Then I look in participants of the chat and I see nobody. YouTube is completely fucked up. But it's worse, the window, I have 3 monitors. And YouTube is on my left monitor. And OBS is on my right monitor at the moment, and neither are being updated. Linux is completely fucked up. I have 3 monitors and the windows are not updated, which means that they're static, they don't change. I don't see the chat. OBS is just flickering, it's not being updated. And it has to do with the fact that those windows are on different monitors. And if it's now a bug in my NVIDIA drivers or a bug in X11, I have no idea, but it's probably a very deep bug because it exists already for years and nobody's fixing it. And I'm afraid it's not my kind of thing. I don't know how to debug that. I'm definitely not into X11 or stuff like that. What is a pure horror? Do I have to sell my, throw away my 3 monitors and buy a single big monitor just because of this bloody bug? Okay. What I can do maybe is drag this loose, let it update again. It doesn't. Drag it again loose. Drag it to this monitor. Now maybe it is updating again, because now I put it on this monitor and now it works. Why do I have a small audience? Oh, the chat to me be more active. Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Yeah, you mean I should react quicker? I don't know, those people that come, I have 170 people that joined. And they stay almost not at all, and then they leave again. And that's not because they typed something in the chat, because I can, nobody ever said anything, basically. Well, there is someone who said hello and I missed it, but I think most people leave because, I don't know, they don't see my face, or the font is too small, or they expect to see some kind of GUI that I'm not using because I'm just using a console and a VI as editor, and or it's way too difficult and they can't follow it after 30 seconds, which is a whole TikTok thing. I mean, most people's attention stopped there. No, okay, I'm being sarcastic. I'd rather look at this. Oh, my stream is so healthy. An excellent stream. Gotta love it. Okay, I'm gonna end the stream and eat. Okay, so maybe I'll see. I have 19 likes. Yay. I'm gonna eat. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe